China will continue to expand high-level opening up and provide more opportunities and a better environment for global investors. Chinese Premier Li Qiang said these at the Summer Davos, which concluded on Thursday in Dalian, northeast China. These remarks are also the expressed wish of one German economist who took a front-row seat of China's transformation over the past 3 decades. Uwe Behrens came to China first in the 1990s, and his life has changed ever since. He's married to a Chinese wife and has traveled extensively in the country. How does he assess China's journey? I sat down with him last week to find out his answers. Mr. Behrens, you have lived in China for 27 years, since 1990. You have witnessed the growth China has been going through. What do you think of the past 30 years of development of China and the reasons behind such growth?
When I came in 1990 to China, I came actually from the former East Germany. For me, it was interesting how China adopted a new policy, a new economical policy to develop the country. We in the Eastern European countries, GDR, we failed. We couldn't manage it. In China, a new experiment was done. The combination of plan and market. And this was systematically improved. From the very beginning, it was not clear how it will be done. But the practical approach in China to have a trial, if it works, adapt it. If not, you have to change. So this was very successful. And I could fantastic experience by myself by setting up a joint venture in the Tianjin Free Trade Zone, or the TEDA, and see how it works. This was for me a lesson how to develop one economy from a very poor stage to today, the situation today.
What do you think of the role of the Communist Party of China? Because there are extremely polarized opinions towards its role in the West. For instance, people who think that this is very, very important leadership that the party has provided. But on the other hand, a lot of people has very negative associations with the party. Not to mention all the bad words, authoritarianism, or even communism itself has a very negative connotation in the minds of a lot of Westerners. How do you see the critical role that the CPC has played in achieving exactly what you described in the previous question?
That's actually a discussion, democracy or the Western democracy with this election system for 4 years and leadership for long term, also which has to appointed by a democratic system, but not a democratic system that every 4 years somebody get elected or somebody get elected who can talk at best. In China, the democratic system is more or less a meritocratic system. The experts, the real person who achieved something and can achieve more, they will be elected by an internal democratic system. And this system we have within the Communist Party of China. It is not so that just one person has a nice speech and then he gets appointed. No, he has to achieve something, has to prove that he can bring the country forward. And when you see all the leaders, this Politburo of China, these are all experts, which proved to be right on this place. When I compare to our Western governments, I can't say that we have really experts in our German government. That's a bit different.
Then one step further, can you help the German viewers or European viewers understand how are Chinese officials selected in your language, in your ways? How do you see that these experts are selected, not by people voting on them, but by long-term observation and by their track record? They have to have a good record in performance, in governance, before they can join in the ranks.
I tried to describe this in my book, the first book, this enemy image. I described there that you have on the local, in the local areas, you have normal election. The mayor get elected. So the next level get also elected. And then those leaders on the provincial level have to achieve, have to perform, have to improve the life of the people. So they get then, or become then, candidates for the next level. And this is this democratic system what we have in China. This is the quality of the person are important to become leader. This is also connected to the 2000 years Chinese history. Confucius, just as a word.
Yeah. Definitely not on how well you talk in public, right? How well you perform in front of a podium. Now, China has insisted on continuing reform and opening up. How do you see that process continuing? Do you see it continuing? Because some people are talking about China closing itself up, or China is, not or reforming backwards. What is your observation?
First, I think people who talk about this and have this opinion, they don't know China. When you see just now what China is doing, to my observation, China struggles now to perform in, let's say, 4 different transformations. At first, the former driver of the growth in China, this real estate, doesn't give this growth rates anymore. So China has to shift from this driver to a new driver, to this productive forces, to innovation, to transform the growth driver from real estate to innovation. So this is a very difficult transformation.
Yeah.
The second, China was before the workshop for the world. This is China today, not anymore. China doesn't produce cheap toys or cheap household goods. China produces high-tech products. And China produces high-tech products for the own market. China has to transform to increase the domestic consumption. And this is connected with many measures taking place at the moment in China. The third, China has to fight the climate change, to change from gas, coal to new energies. And there China has very big progress when we think about the solar industry, about the new energy vehicles, or with the wind energy. So this is a very, very hard and difficult transformation. Yeah. And China is faster than the Western countries. So, and then China has to improve the social life for the people. It's, let's say, the fourth transformation. So you can go into the Chinese economy, Chinese society, and you see that the development go on. And this cannot be in a closed area. This has to be open for the multilateral world. But it cannot be under the pressure of one hegemony, of the US hegemony. So China has to develop the trading relationship with other countries, not only to West European countries or America, also to Southeast Asia, Central Asia. It's a Belt and Road Initiative.
Well, as a good old journalist who's doing international media, I have to ask you this question from a devil's advocate perspective. If you can point to one aspect where you think China could do better or could have done better, what would that be then?
So this is now a very good and very difficult question. What should China do better? What I think China has to go on and maybe improve to open up this tourism, that more foreigners come to China, to improve this English speaking, that when foreigners come to China, also the business foreigner, that they find area with more English language, that the communication can improve. I think this is very important. Even when foreign tourists come to China, they have not enough communication with the local people because of language. This, I would say, is one important point to do it better. Otherwise, I think what is done now is this open up to invite foreign companies. It's in place. It has to be further in place. It has to be further improved. But this language problem, to make it easier for the foreigners to stay in China, I think is important.
Thank you very much for that piece of suggestion. Well, China has been trying to open up. For instance, we extended visa-free policy to unilaterally, right, to people from Germany, for instance. Any German can come to China without visa for 2 weeks, and that list is getting longer and longer now. New Zealanders, Australians, I think it's great news. But again, as you said, to make it easier for them to stay and study in China, very good advice. I really appreciate it. In terms of the 75th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic, what will be your message, and what does a strong and stronger, more prosperous China mean for Germany, for Europeans, for the world's future?
So first, I hope that China will continue this way and will continue to know which power this big country, China, with a communist party, with a leading communist party, has to develop the world. This poverty elevation is not only for China. This should also apply for many millions of people in all over the world. So that this effect will take place also in the future. So China will take a positive way to secure the peace worldwide, be it in the Ukraine, be it in Gaza, Israel-Gaza, be it in Sudan. This, I wish that China can have a stronger engagement and more success to bring the peace to the people. This is for me the biggest wish for the next 75 years for China, for Chinese People's Republic.
Yeah, roger that. Thank you so much, Uwe Behrens, German transport economist and writer who has lived in China for nearly 3 decades. Thank you very much for sharing with us your insights.